Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated January releases. Oh, hello dog. Normally I would want to do a video that talks about my most anticipated releases for like all of 2015. But that's a lot of books because there's going to be a lot coming out in 2015. So I figure what I'll do is at the near-ish beginning of each month, I will do a video and talk about my particular anticipated releases for that specific month. So let's get into January. It's already past the first week of January, so actually there's been some things that have come out. But whatever the case, there are quite a good number of books coming out this month I'm super excited for. As I said, we're already in the first week, so a couple of these are out already. One of these is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. N-I-V-E-N. I don't know how it's pronounced. This is a contemporary young adult fiction novel, which is a pretty big release for Random House, who's the publisher putting this out. It's already got a movie deal, not only in the works, but the script is written, the cast is already in place, like, they're ready to go. And this is all before this book even released. It's being pitched as good for people who like The Fault in Our Stars and Eleanor Park. I think I like this book better than both of those books. This, like I said, contemporary young adult about a girl named Violet and a guy named Finch who meet when they're both standing at the top of their school's like bell tower contemplating jumping off. That may sound really, really dark, but it turns into a beautiful, heartbreaking, and wonderful story. I do highly recommend this book. It came out, like I said, on the 6th, so it's out. Go pick up a copy. It's amazing. Another book which also came out on the 6th is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, the sequel to Red Rising. I pre-ordered the Kindle book pretty much the moment I finished Red Rising, and despite the fact I did have a digital arc of this book, so I kind of already owned it and read it, I was like, no, I'm gonna support Pierce Brown. I'm still gonna buy it, like in 3 different formats, but hey. So Golden Sun came out. Oh guys, it was so good. So good. And the last new release of January that is already out is Firefight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to Steelheart, his young adult kind of sci-fi-ish novel about supervillains and normal people going up against them. It's Brandon Sanderson. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's Brandon Sanderson. Duh. Alright, I promise all the next books are not out yet. So, hey, these are definitely anticipated because they're not out yet and I want them. And all 3 of these I have actually already pre-ordered to my Kindle. Yeah, I'm that obsessed. First we have Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This is her companion story really to her Lunar Chronicles series. The final book, Winter, will be out later in the year. But Fairest is the story of Queen Levana, who is the kind of evil queen of this fairy tale-esque world. For those of you who haven't read the Lunar Chronicles, they are science fiction retellings of classic, like, Grimm fairy tales. So you have Cinder, which is obviously Cinderella, you have Scarlet, which is Little Red Riding Hood, and you have Cress, which is Rapunzel. And the final book, Winter, is going to involve Snow White, from what we've heard. So getting the perspective and story of Queen Levana, who's our main antagonist, I think will hopefully be really interesting. I'm actually kind of intrigued by what her backstory might be. Next we have The Shadow Cabinet by Maureen Johnson, the 3rd book in her Shades of London series, and as we well know, if you saw my top 14 books of 2014, that series, which I started last year, was one of my favorite things that I read, and the 2nd book left off on a huge cliffhanger, and so I really need the next book in that series because I need to know what happens. I need to see what happens next because I'm not happy. I'm not in a good place until I know. And finally, the last book, which I'm highly anticipating for January, is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon, which is the sequel to The Bone Season. I do actually have a digital arc on my Kindle, but because it's an advanced reader copy, it's like an uncorrected proof, it's not really formatted properly. Like, the digital formatting really isn't done, and so I find it really hard to read without that proper digital formatting, and I also just really want the book in my hands, so I have actually pre-ordered that to come to my Kindle, and I have also pre-ordered the hardback to sit with my beautiful Bone Season hardback, and I'm so excited. This series is, I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those big series, and so I'm really interested to see what goes on in the next book. But that is it for my anticipated releases of January. I mean, it's gonna be a good year in books, so expect to see more of these with plenty more books I'll be anticipating throughout the year. But that's it for me today, you guys, and so until next time, cheers.